Hello, welcome to the latest episode of our Take 3 series, where we get a monthly dose of inspiration from barrier-breaking and inspiring women. I'm Wendy Doyle, President and CEO of United We. Today, I'm excited to speak with Mirya Holman, Associate Professor at Tulane University. In addition to being a leading researcher and a national thought leader, Mirya is an author of the book, Women in Politics in the American City. She has been published in peer-reviewed journals and interviewed by national media outlets such as NPR. Mirya has a robust background in researching local appointed boards and commissions, including our own Appointments Project program, which we'll discuss later. Mirya, thank you for joining us today.
It's really exciting to be here.
Your work closely aligns with the mission of United We, which heavily invests in data and research to drive our initiatives. You are recognized as a national thought leader with your research on local boards and commissions. Tell us what drew your attention to researching women's participation in civic leadership.
You know, this story starts quite a long time ago when I was in college and I was taking a class on urban politics. And we were learning a lot about urban political leadership. We were reading a lot of academic work on it, learning a ton about it. I was really interested in it. And I asked my professor, so what do we know about women in local politics? And he said, oh, that's a really good question. You know, why don't you come to my office and we'll look at see what we can find about this. And so I went to his office during office hours and we did a lot of research, and basically there wasn't very much that had been written at that time that was a really comprehensive analytical investigation of the overall level of women's involvement in local politics, why it matters, why women want to be involved in local politics, what the policy outcomes are. And so at that point, I started to think maybe somebody should study this. And so then I went to grad school and did study it and wrote a dissertation and then a book. And so it's been sort of a long story of me being interested in this topic.
Well, I think we have you to thank for asking the question that led to the further investigation. So thank you for your leadership on that. Your research has built a database of local boards and commissions, which includes data on over 60,000 members serving in civic leadership. What are some of the key takeaways from your research as it pertains to gender parity on local boards and commissions?
Well, the first big takeaway is that women are underrepresented on appointed boards and commissions in comparison to their share of the population, right? So women are a little bit more than half of individuals that live in cities in the United States, and maybe in the range of 35 to 40% of appointees on these boards. But it's not just that the overall level is under gender parity. We also see really consistent patterns in that women are often totally absent from some kinds of boards, and then there are a lot of women on other kinds of boards. So we see a lot of women serving, for example, on library boards. We see a lot of women serving on boards relating to social services or welfare or children's issues. But a board like planning or zoning, which in many ways are making some of the most important decisions in terms of quality of life in cities, women are often absent from representation on those boards.
Even though the Appointments Project is an intervention, I'm sitting here listening to you and it reminds me, we've made some progress as you've identified, but we still have such a long way to go, and we can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
Yeah.
Over the next 5 years, Tulane and Notre Dame will be researching the effectiveness of our signature program, as we've discussed, the Appointments Project, as well as the impact of its women in civic leadership positions across the nation. In your experience, what are the greatest barriers for women interested in an appointed role? And then what can you share with us on how women today can overcome these barriers?
Well, you know, one of the central barriers is just knowledge about what's available and the process by which you get appointed. In most cities, this is very much I put myself forward kind of position. You throw your hat in the ring, you fill out the right paperwork, you talk to the right person. Often those processes are really determined by who knows people in power. So if you're the neighbor of the mayor, or you're good friends with, or your kids go to the same school as the city manager, or you serve on the Chamber of Commerce with a member of the city council, or somebody that is really active in politics, you get pulled into those networks. We know that in general, networks in local politics are gender segregated. So women know other women, and women can really easily recognize other women that are doing really cool things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that women are in those positions of power and are able to tap other women to pull them in. So one of the major barriers is sort of trying to figure out how to get into those networks and navigate those processes. The other major barrier, which I know that you identify with, Wendy, is just time and how much time we all have. And often women that are interested in civic engagement and affairs already are really committed to doing a lot of things. And when I meet the women that have gone through the appointments project, I'm really overwhelmed by how impressive their resumes are. They are just doing thing after thing after thing. And so one of the barriers that we might come across is that women are interested, but they're just worried about what the commitment is going to be in terms of having the time to do the job appropriately. This is one of the reasons that I really like the appointments project, is because you can get training from the appointments project. And it's not like you go through the training and then the next day you're on a board. It's possible that happens, but it's also possible that you can go through the training and then think, in 6 months, I'm going to have the time to do this. And so then I'm going to be able to put the paperwork together and try to seek an appointment on a board. Or in a year, when my youngest kid is in school full time, I'm going to have time to do this. And the appointments project really allows for women to navigate these opportunities within their own lives and what works for them.
Very well said. And just as a reminder for our viewers, if you have an interest in serving in this capacity, we would welcome you to be a part of the appointments project. But if now, as Mirya said, time is such a barrier. If time is not permitting you, then ask someone to serve in that capacity, another woman to join us in the effort. Thank you, Mirya, for sharing your research, for your insight today, but more than anything, for your leadership on women's civic participation. We look forward to partnering with Tulane over the next several years on this project. And thanks to everyone for tuning in to our latest Take 3 video segment. We hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much, Wendy.